Sit back and throw one back with your pinkies in the air and a middle finger to the world, and join the Gentleman Bastard Brigade. And me, the Eclectic Gentleman Stephan Watts, as we look at this day in pro wrestling history. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's get into some history, my fellow pro wrestling nerds. First off, happy January 1st, happy New Year to you and yours. May the next year be as good as 1985 NWA booking. Now, to start off on a positive note, we're going to do the happy birthdays. So, born 1922, Roy Shire. Born 1943, Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart. God, that man must have found a Lazarus Pit or the Fountain of Youth or something, because I swear he's looked the same since the 70s. Next, we have Manuel Soto, born in 1946. Then in 1960, we have Leilani Kai. I always used to love saying that as a kid. Leilani Kai. Next, in 1972, Azazel. 1977, the glorious one himself, Bobby Roode. 1982, Wes Draven. 1984, the vivacious Vetta Scott. I don't know why she never caught on a major promotion. I think she's an amazing talent. 1985, Dan Payson. 1987, Courtney Sin, spelled S-Y-N-N. You know, funny fact, I actually used to wrestle underneath the name S-Y-N-N, spelled exactly the same way. Alright, after the happy birthdays, you know what we gotta do. The people we lost on this day in pro wrestling history. So, on January 1st, 1978, we lost the Purple Phantom. In 1966, we lost Bill Weeder. In 1958, we lost George Thomas. And then in 2008, we lost The Raider. And in 2007, we lost Mickey Hanada. Alright, enough of that depressing stuff. It's a new year. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of everything that happened this day. In 1927, Ira Dern defeats Clarence Euclid for the Ohio's World Light Heavyweight title in Columbus, Ohio, ending Euclid's second reign. In 1931, Joe Bansky defeats Nick Bozindis, I'm butchering that name, in Columbus, Ohio to become the first Midwest Wrestling Association World Light Heavyweight Champion. Blah, 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 blah. Tongue twister. In 1936, the Great Mistifo defeats Walter Roxy to win the NWA World Light Heavyweight title in Detroit, Michigan. Say that 5 times fast. In 1940, Pete Belcastro defeats Ernie Palicio for the Pacific Coast Light Heavyweight title in Eugene, Oregon. In 1943, Billy Thom defeats Martino Angelo for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title in Columbus, Ohio. This begins Thom's second reign and ended Angelo's second. Jeez, that NWA World Junior Heavyweight title apparently gets dropped on January 1st all the time. In 1944, well, we've already gone over that, but I want to go over it again. Jimmy Hart is born in Mississippi. In 1946, Larry Tillman defeats Marshall Estep to win the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title. In 1949, Dizzy Davis defeats Antonio Rocca for the Texas Heavyweight title in Waco, Texas. This begins Davis's second reign and ended Rocca's second. Waco, Texas. Can I just tell you how much I love the name Dizzy Davis? I love it. That NWA World Junior Heavyweight title strikes again in Columbus, Ohio, as Johnny Demchuk defeats Tommy Martindale. This begins Tom's second reign and ended Angelo's second. In 1950, Jack O'Reilly defeats Buck Weaver to win the Pacific Coast Light Heavyweight title in Portland, Oregon, beginning his second reign. In 1954, the legendary El Santo defeats Suji Saito for the NWA World Middleweight title in Mexico City to end Saito's second reign. In 1959, Billy Wicks defeats Lee Fields to win the NWA Gulf Coast Heavyweight title in Mobile, Alabama, beginning his third reign. In 1961, Rocket and Sputnik Monroe, God, I love me some Sputnik Monroe, defeats Duke Kamuku and Mad Dog Vachon to win the NWA Texas Tag Team titles in Fort Worth, Texas. In 1962, Larry Cheney defeats Jim Bernard for the Wolverine Wrestling Michigan Heavyweight title in Saginaw, Michigan. A Wolverine title. I mean, yeah, they're in Michigan, but I don't know why, but Wolverine's claws just popped out into my head when I was thinking of that. In 1963, Ivan and Carol Kamikoff, God, I'm butchering that name, defeat Mr. High, a.k.a. Doug Gilbert, and Mr. Low, a.k.a. Dick Steinborn, for the AWA World Tag Team title in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Also in 1963, Art and Stan Nielsen win the American Wrestling Alliance World Tag Team title for the fourth time by defeating Carl and Kurt Von Bruin. In 1968, Mike Lazinski is born. In 1970, Kimberly Page is born. Well, I didn't know that. That's what I missed earlier. In 1970, Rodney is born in Rutherford, New Jersey. I don't know who Rodney is. I'm going to have to look that up. In 1970, Dick Murdoch defeats the Lawman, a.k.a. Don Slayton, for the Amarillo NWA Brass Knuckles title in Amarillo, Texas, ending Lawman's second reign. Lawman? Lawman. There we go. In 1970, Stan Polinsky defeats Tarzan Taylor in Omaha, Nebraska for the American Midwest Heavyweight title to begin his second reign. We're speaking of Brass Knuckles champion Dick Murdoch. Tarzan Taylor was a Brass Knucks champion in Florida, like a lot. 1970, Bulldog Brower defeats John Powers to win the NWA North American Heavyweight title in Cleveland, Ohio. 1971, Bob Geigel wins his fifth NWA Central States Heavyweight title, ending Roger Kirby's second reign. 1975, there's that name again, Rocket Monroe and Randy Taylor defeat Jackie Fargo and George Goulas to win the NWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Team titles in Nashville, Tennessee. This ended Fargo and Goulas' second reign. Man, that was a tag team. If you get a chance, look back at Jackie Fargo and George Goulas. I'm telling you, you will not be mad. In 1979, Jack and Jerry Briscoe defeat Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk for the NWA Georgia Tag Team title in Atlanta, Georgia. Man, that match. That match, I'm telling you right now. 1982, Tiger Mask defeats the Dynamite Kid in Tokyo, Japan for the vacant WWF Junior Heavyweight title. In 1982, the St. Louis Wrestling Club held the Sam Mushnick retirement show. In the main event, it saw Ric Flair defeat Dusty Rhodes in a best 2 out of 3 falls match, winning 2-1 to retain the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. 1983, the Assassin and Rip Oliver defeat Billy Jack Haynes and Stan Stasiak for the NWA Pacific Northwest Tag Team titles. 1983, Norman Frederick Charles wins a tournament for the vacant Southeast NWA United States Junior Heavyweight title. In 1984, Negro Casas defeats Black Terry to win the UWA World Light Heavyweight title in Mexico City, Mexico. In 1985, Jay and Mark Youngblood defeat Crusher Khrushchev and Jim Neidhart to win the Florida NWA United States Tag Team titles. In 1986, Dick Slater defeats Butch Reed for the Mid-South North American Heavyweight title in Tulsa, Oklahoma, ending Reed's second reign. At the same event, Jake Roberts won the Mid-South Television title, defeating Dick Slater in the finals of a month-long tournament. Roberts had defeated Eddie Gilbert, Buzz Sawyer, and one other man to reach the finals. Slater had beaten Al Perez, Steve Williams, and Jim Duggan. Now that's a tournament. All those names? Whoa. In 1988, Masahiro Chono defeated Mike George in Des Moines, Iowa, God, I can't speak today, to become the last NWA Central States television champion, as the belt was discontinued by the end of the year. And we're going to end our history with a little Lucha Libre today. In 1994, Villano 5 defeats Silver King for the UWA World Light Heavyweight title. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the Eclectic Gentleman Stephan Watts. This has been your pro wrestling history for January 1st. Sit back and throw one back with your pinkies in the air and a middle finger to the world, and join the Gentleman Bastard Brigade.